God.
Why would you use a pistol to freaking kill yourself?
Hey, how's it going? So today I wanted to talk about the SIG P320 and why I picked one up. Before this, I was a huge Glock fanboy, I guess. I use this Glock 19 as like my outside the waistband carry when I would go to the range and stuff, and then the Glock 43 when I would just conceal carry and stuff. So I went ahead and picked up this SIG P320 after shooting one of my buddies' P320 with the same grip. This is a Wilson Combat grip. His was like, I think his was a carry as well, in black, and I really liked the feeling of it. And I was like, dude, like I really want a SIG P320 because you're able to kind of configure it in different styles and different setups depending on what you want. And the SIG P320 has the ability to swap over they call it the fire control unit. So it's not the frame how you would normally see in Glock. When you buy one, this will be the serialized portion of it. So you would need to like DROS or private party transfer this frame compared to the SIG, that you would only need to do that to this firing unit here. It's just this piece. It's not the whole frame. So let's see if I can take it off in time for you. So this would be the piece that you would have to DROS or private party transfer, whatever you need to do, not the frame compared to the Glock. You're able to do many things with this. You can put this firing control unit into this grip module, or the original OEM grip module if I wanted to, or this new carry style or carry 2 grip module, and then use it with my 3.6-inch barrel slide here. So it's pretty cool. You can pretty much move this around. If I wanted to do that with this Glock, I kind of can't. I'm stuck with this one. If I want a Glock 19, I mean, best thing I could do is probably put in like a Glock 17 mag in there and maybe mess around with the slides and stuff, but that's about it. I can't really make the frame shorter unless I cut it. Same thing with the Glock 43. I can't really do anything with it. It's just a Glock 43. As to this, I pretty much need this and have different setups however I want. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that's the main reason I picked it up. Been really happy with it, how it shoots and everything. I really like it. This M19 slide was kind of difficult to find. I got it for like 400 bucks, which is kind of a lot for a complete slide. But when you think about it, it does already have the night sights. It has a cutout for the loophole delta point red dot, so I can do that if I wanted to. This one was in really great shape. The guy was saying that it was brand new. I mean, I never really believe that when it comes to firearms, that things are brand new. They just probably clean it up really nice. But I looked down the barrel, everything looked really new. Like it didn't look like it had any scuffs. Anything that's on it now is probably things that I've done to it accidentally and stuff. So, I mean, this one was pretty nice. This subcompact slide I got on eBay for like 356 bucks in a bidding war that I was in with this other dude that really wanted it. It started out like at 200 bucks, and then we got it all the way down to, or all the way up to 356. But I really wanted this one. I didn't want the compact version of it. I wanted the shorter one so that I can use this carry 2 grip module. That way it's just a little bit short. I mean, I'm losing just a little bit of size there compared to the one that I currently had, which was the one for this X series P320. Now, as of right now, before I had the P320, this Glock 19 was like the one I carried outside the waistband. I have like my Safariland holster for it with the level 3 retention, and this was like my little duty style gun right here. Because I mean, a lot of people conceal the Glock 19, but I feel like when you start throwing on like higher night sights or the suppressor sights and this longer X300 light, it gets a little bit too big, at least for me, to appendix carry. So I wouldn't want to appendix carry this because it's kind of uncomfortable. So I always liked this Glock 43 because it's so small and tiny. I mean, the only downfall to it is that it only carries like 9 to 10 rounds depending on what mags you use. So that's the only downside to it. But that's kind of been my thing right here. Is I bought 2 different guns, and then, you know, conceal carry and then duty range outside the waistband type of gun. But with this one here, I'm able to kind of mess around with this and use this as my outside the waistband gun on my, this is a T-Rex Arms holster. And it works just fine. Obviously there's no firing control unit in there, but you get the point. So that's what I was using. One of the issues that I found with this Wilson Combat frame is that when I threw on the X300, this is the A version of this light, it usually uses, similar to this one, it uses these things to pull it on and off. So it's like these little paddles that you pull down and you can slide the light on and off. That's what it came with, but I had to swap over to this weird version of it where you gotta pull these things back and then push this bar in and then just slide it out to get it to mount. But when I did that and tightened this Allen bolt here, it would kind of push this light upwards, so it would look really canted and weird, and I hated that. So I went ahead and just added electrical tape to the front, kind of thickened up the rail so that it wouldn't do that as much. I mean, it still kind of does it, if you can tell right there, but at least it doesn't do it as bad as before. And that's one of the main issues I was reading online. A lot of people on the forums talking about this grip module and this same version, the A version of the X300, and how they couldn't get the light to just sit straight compared to the Glock here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty straight to me. And then when you go to this one, you can kind of tell it kind of leans upwards a little bit from here, kind of goes up. And I didn't like that. Like I said, it was really bad before I added the electrical tape to kind of give it some more thickness to it. But before that, it was really bad. So that's the only real big issue that I have with this frame. Aside from that, everything has worked just fine. I really like it. That's why I picked up this X Carry 2, and later I'll be picking up a TLR 7 to go here, and then probably like inside the waistband holster for this, because it isn't as small as my 43, but it does get pretty small, and I'll show you that in a little bit right now when I put this thing together. Now the firing control unit is in this Carry 2 slot. I mean, I know you can't tell from just these two, they look the same, only that this rail is shorter compared to this one. If I were to put the slide for the M19, it just wouldn't work because it's way too short. Can I even get it to work? Yeah. Check it out, just for fun. See how kind of sticks out there way too much because this frame is a lot shorter. Now, the reason I picked up the Carry 2 is to use this subcompact slide. Now, it's really small. It's not Glock 43 small, but you get the point. Subcompact, and the Carry 2 frame is that I can use a 15 round mags as well. So I don't have to like use smaller mags. I can continue to use the same ones I use on the regular carry version of the SIG P320. And I can also use the 21 round mag just fine on this little subcompact P320. Same with the regular carry, of course, because I mean it's the same size. So if you're interested in picking up like your first handgun, I highly recommend the P320 first, only because you can kind of buy it, and then if you don't like the setup, if it's too big or whatever the reason is, you can always just sell the slide and even the frame. Like, you know, I have this frame here that I might sell or not, I'm not sure, but you can sell all the extra parts, keep the firing unit, the fire control unit, and then just buy the Wilson Combat Carry 2 frame that's like 60 bucks, and then you can find a subcompact slide like I did for like $350, and then you can change your whole gun around and then, you know, have a smaller version of the gun or a bigger version of the gun. Compared to if you were to buy a Glock 19, it's your first gun and you don't like it for whatever reason, you don't like the grip, like it's too like thick or whatever, you're kind of stuck with it. You know, you can send it out to get stippled and it'll be a little better, but that's like another cost and you're ruining the gun and it won't be the same. You can't go back and add all those shavings you did. Same thing with the Glock 43. You can buy it and it's nice for concealed carry, but then you want to use it out on the range as like an outside the waistband. You kind of just, you can't do that with something this small. So, I mean, you can, but it's tiny, you know, you can only have 10 rounds. So it really depends on what you really want. I mean, there's also gun ranges that allow you to rent guns and you can try out which one you like. But I just think if it's your first one, a SIG P320, and then just mess around with different slides, different grip modules, because you don't really have to go to the background or anything to get a grip module because you already did that for the fire control unit and you could be good to go, mess around with different stuff. I am planning on throwing a Delta Point Pro red dot on this, but I really want to dial in these sights before I add any red dots to any of my guns. I made the mistake and purchased an RMR for this Glock 19 and I thought like, you know, like if like the rifle, like, oh, I'll get a red dot, and it does make it a little bit easier to shoot compared to iron sights. But for handguns, to me, that wasn't the case. I felt like there is a learning curve to shooting with RMR, and I think I would rather just get better or good with shooting the iron sights from the handgun and then jumping onto a red dot. Only because not every handgun you pick up is gonna have a red dot. So I would rather just get this dialed in a little better before I pick up red dots. But yeah, later down the road, I'll probably throw an RMR back on this one and then Delta Point Pro on this one. And then I should be good. I mean, might get a Glock 48 and do that Holliston dot with that TLR because that looks pretty dope. And I feel like that's going to be really useful with the dot. But again, like, I love this thing. It's so tiny, it's so small. It's just the round count. It sucks, you know, you're like 9-10 rounds only depending on what type of mags you use. All right, and that's going to be it. Just wanted to go over these two platforms because it seems like these are the main ones that everyone's talking about when they want to purchase their first gun. I know I got a lot of DMs about this grip module from Wilson Combat when they posted that photo on Instagram, and a lot of people were DMing me about, like, hey, what gun is that? I was like, oh, it's not really the gun, it's the grip module that I picked up for like 60 bucks. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, you know, I'll do the best to answer them. I'm not a professional or anything like that, but I do have some little experience with this stuff. So again, if you have anything that you want to ask, or just feel free to comment or DM me on Instagram, which is probably the place that I answer people the most on there. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys.